for me.
Yes, Dr. Rob, is Brittany Murphy with us right now?
Yes, she is. Very beautiful, just very vibrant. It just gives me a sense of sparkle and joy and happiness. I know that when she was alive, this was not her personality, but now that she's on the other side, she can be herself. And I think that, when we get to the other side, sometimes it's definitely easier than being alive because we have to be so many things to so many people when we're alive, and that's kind of the impression I got from her, was that she was just trying to make everybody else happy even though she wasn't happy. And, that's kind of one of the reasons why I think that she was ready to go to the other side at such an early age. She just was such a giver that everyone just took from her and never gave back to her.
I see. And my first question for Brittany is, how exactly did you die?
When I touch in with her, I feel neglect. That's one of the big things that I hear from her from the other side, is that sense of neglect. I really have the impression from what I'm getting from her that she really was, not forced to die, but really everybody wanted her to die around her for the money's sake.
I see, Dr. Rob. And I'd like to ask Brittany if she's at peace, and did she finish everything that she wanted to do here on Earth during her lifetime?
Well, one of the things that she says to me is that, she did. She's very peaceful. She's very happy. Like I said, she's kind of jumping around, kind of like Luann was, on the cartoon. That's kind of what I see when I see her personally. She was very emaciated when she died, and she doesn't look anything like that. She looks very full of herself and at the right perfection, if you want to call it that. When I do touch in with her, she does say to me that, she did complete all of her work. She didn't have anything left undone. And she says that's important for people to know because she died at such an early age. But she said she'd gone through so many things in life and so many people had used her and abused her that, it was kind of her time to get out of the suffering. And that's really a basic sense of peace that I get from her, is that there's no more suffering for her.
I see, Dr. Rob. So were there drugs involved with your death, Brittany?
What I really feel from her is that she used the drugs to kind of drown out all of the people. She says that, when she was alive, she had a lot of depression. There was a lot of people pulling at her, and it was just too much pressure on her. And she was definitely involved with drugs, even up to the point of her death. She says that her husband was one of the guys who mainly supplied her.
I see you supplied her with drugs. Was he a drug user too?
She says yes. She said that's how he controlled her. He said that. She said that really it was for him. That was his way of keeping her, under wraps. We did an interview recently with Anna Nicole, and believe it or not, guys, Anna Nicole is with us as well. And I just thought that was kind of interesting that she should pop up all of a sudden. And they're almost like they're holding hands, almost like it's a connection between them and their deaths. Because we started talking about death, and then Anna Nicole showed up, and I was like,
Like they're in some kind of support group for people who died almost at the hands of their husbands.
Exactly. There's a lot of, support on the other side, and I think that we always travel in circles of the people that we're supposed to be around, or the souls we're supposed to be around. And Kathy said to me the other day that, certain souls come back at certain times. There's groups of us, like Pat and I are really close, and we've only known each other a few years. Matt and I are really close, and we've only known each other a few months. So, there's a lot of difference, in the way that people, come back together. And I think that, the connection, I think, between even Kurt Cobain that we did a few weeks ago, these stars, they get around people, and all the people want are just their money. They don't love them. They just want the power or the fame or the money, and I think a lot of it, we think about stars and we really, envy them and say, well, wish we had their life. Well, if you had to live in a fishbowl and worry about who was gonna get you, that would be a very terrible life, wouldn't it?
It would be, and I think it's really nice that we have the opportunity to talk to these people when they're basically ready to talk to us.
Exactly, and we never force any of the spirits to come. We always ask before we even think about doing a show on them. So, one of the things that I hear from Brittany is that she never felt loved. She always felt like somebody wanted something from her, even her own mother. And she said that it's all about using her for what they can get from her, and really it didn't really matter to her because she just wanted someone to care, and she would always do more than what she should have because of that reason.
Let's see. My next question for Brittany is, what was it like working on King of the Hill?
She said it was really hard work. She said it was really tough to do that part. She said that she would go in and she would be alone, and she said there was no one around her most of the time except for, just a few people that were running the switchboard or whatever you want to call it. She says she wasn't really a technical person, and she's very smart, by the way, and a lot of people don't realize that about her. She said when she was alive, they kind of underestimated her and her abilities, and that was something that, she wanted to get out there, that, she was really smart, and she knew it was happening, but, as she said before, it was more about what people wanted from her. She really didn't care at the end. She just wanted someone around. It didn't matter who it was. It just, as long as there was a body in the room, that's all that really mattered.
Okay, I've always liked the voice that she did of Luann from King of the Hill. Brittany, what was it like to work on the set of Clueless with Alicia Silverstone?
She says that the word bitch comes to mind. Really, that's very shocking to me personally. I always thought that was something that I would never hear from the other side, but I think that's just the best way she could describe it. And it just seems like there was so much jealousy and so much envy on that set. She said that it was like walking into a war zone every day. She said that you never knew what was going to happen next, who was going to get you, or, and it was more of a high school thing, than anything else. She said, but she never really got along with girls. That was her thing. She never always got along with guys better. And when she was alive, there was never any close relationships with women, really. She never trusted women.
Interesting. Not what I expected, but very interesting. I'd like to ask Brittany, what was the downfall of your musical career? Why that didn't move forward?
She said it wasn't because she didn't want it. She said that everybody just wanted other things for her, and it wasn't their priority, it was her priority. And because she wanted to make everybody else happy, she kind of just gave up on it. She didn't really pursue it as much as she wanted to. She said it made her happier singing than it did acting.
I did have a feeling that, so there were other reasons, that she had for not moving forward with that. And about the house that you died in, there's a rumor that Household Molding had a contribution to your death and your husband's as well. Is that true?
She said there was definitely a lot of mold in the house. It definitely didn't help in the fact that she was in so much, using so many drugs at the time that kind of weakened her condition, and she was very much susceptible to that. And but she said that people knew she was sick, people knew she was dying, but they didn't do anything about it.
Ah, okay. And after your death, your mother and husband started a children's charity. Was this a legitimate charity, or was it just a way to put cash in their pockets? She
said it was really about the money. She said that was really the whole reason for the charity. She said that she kind of stepped in from the other side and was able to inspire the people who needed to know to stop it from happening. She said that it was really just a big scam. Is really the word she uses in describing this. She said they didn't get enough in the life insurance and they weren't getting enough in the residuals, and they figured they could raise several $1 million and become the administrators of this charity and use that money to further their lifestyle. She said that all they did was work her, and at the end of her life she didn't have much to show for all the work that she did. So in the end, they had money to live on for the rest of their lives, but they always wanted more. Is that what she's saying? She said they liked to spend it even more than she did. She said that she basically gave everything that she made away, and she didn't really keep anything for herself, and she never had control over anything. She said that everyone else had control, and they just kept her working. And when they found out that she wasn't going to be able to work anymore, that she wasn't necessary for them, and she was better dead to them than alive, and so they kind of just, out there and kind of forced her, to cross to the other side. She said it wasn't that it wasn't her time. It's just that, just the way that it happened wasn't right.
So, did the mother or the husband have anything to do with the death, or they would just neglect her?
She said that they didn't exactly murder her, but they didn't exactly help her either. So it was kind of like they knew something was up. They could have stopped what was happening, but they chose not to. They chose to encourage it. Even her own mother, she said, betrayed her on so many occasions. And when she was a young girl, she was molested, and her mother knew about it and allowed it to happen. And she said that, with her mom, her justice will come at the end of her life, and she will have to make accountability for that. She said that, it was easier for her mom just to turn a cheek to the whole situation and, deny it, and she was lying. And it was a big issue for her, and something she never really shared when she was alive.
Okay. And like yes, Brittany, what reason did your father have, your estranged father, for adding his name to your birth certificate 16 months after your passing?
It was all about the money. It was all about the money, she said. She said if he could, stake his claim into her estate. And she said that not all of the estate has been settled yet. There's still a lot of things that are unsettled. And she said that, we're going to be hearing more about that in the next few months coming up about that. And she said there's going to be a major court battle when everything's said and done. She said there's still money coming in. She wasn't, the star of King in the Hill, but she still gets, some residuals from that and some of the other movies. She had managed to write some things into her contracts. And there's going to be another battle soon.
So it sounds like, unfortunately, family was after her money. More than one member of the family. It seemed like anyone connected with her probably was sort of a leech to her bank account.
Exactly. She says that really was about, just taking from her. Nobody gave anything back to her. She said they didn't even buy her any kind of gifts or any kind of, acknowledgement even for her birthday. It was really difficult for her because no one really, cared enough to call. Not even her mother. That's just really just, to me, a very sad circumstances for sure.
It's very unfortunate. I'd like to move on to the final film that she has done. It's in post-production right now. It is called Something Wicked, and it's planned to be released in August of this year. Tell us about this movie.
She said that she did some of the acting in the movie. Obviously, she's in the movie, but she said that they had done a lot of filming, and they basically spliced this movie together to capitalize on her death. And she said for her, it's blood money. She said anything that comes from this film is blood money. It's not really something that she really wanted to have, as an endorsement there, but unfortunately, there's nothing in her hand. She said it's going to do really well, though. She said, she expects it to do extremely well, and that's one of the reasons why her estate is still going to be fighting over her money.
I see. See another all about the money type situation there again. And Brittany, I'd like to ask, were there ever plans of having children, and do you regret not having them in this short lifetime?
She says that she never intended to have children. She said she did not want to mess up their life like her mother had messed up hers. And she felt like she was such a lost soul and didn't really have anything to add to anyone's life. And she said that she was not conscious of that. She said also when she was alive, she was very selfish. She didn't want to share herself with anyone really, and it was easier, as a single person, even though she was married, that she wouldn't have to share. So I think that's one of the reasons why she didn't have children.
Okay, and is she with her husband now that he has passed? Is he here too?
She is with him, and yes, he is here, but he's standing back away from her. They're not standing together like a couple would, that have crossed over. They're kind of associated with each other from that circle thing that I mentioned at the beginning, of this interview. And I think that, he is here with us and kind of anxious to speak as well.
I know he wants to speak. I was preparing these questions for him, but for some reason I was going to write his name down, and I don't think he wants his name announced. He just wants to be referred to as, Brittany's husband.
I think you're right about that. I think even though he was, an actor, director, in his own right, he really just says, "I'm Brittany's husband," and I agree with that interpretation of what you're feeling there, Bill.
Now it does make pretty much sense. Is there a message from him that he'd like to give? He said he's ready to speak. I know. I guess we'll just let him, say his piece.
Well, I think what I'm getting from him is a sense of "I'm sorry," and I think that's really what he wanted to say to Brittany more than anything else. And Brittany's fans, of course, are involved in that. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for my actions, and I think that this is his way of making peace on the other side. Gives me that sense of I want to make amends. And he said there's really no way for him to do that now that he's crossed. But Brittany has no ill feelings towards him. Let's just make that very clear. She understands his circumstances as well. And once drugs take over, that really is all your life. And drugs and alcohol are definitely not something to mess with unless you are prepared to accept the consequences. That's what he tells me. He says that for him, he was a drug abuser since he was like 16, and he was also lost soul and abuse and physical abuse as well as mental abuse. And that's something that, kind of put out there for sure.
Okay, I appreciate his honesty. And I want to ask Brittany's husband, what made you and Brittany decide to marry?
He said that she really wanted someone just to be there. And for him, he was able to do that for her, and, he saw the benefit of controlling her and her talent. He said that he always thought she was very talented from the very beginning, and that, talent was really what attracted him, and the fact that he could make a lot of money from her, and, that was really all it was about.
Okay, and I wanted to ask him if there was any of his work out there. I know he was I believe, a British screenwriter. Is there any of his work out there that we'll maybe hear about in the future, similar to how Brittany's movie is being released in the fall?
He said he was popular at one time, but his popularity kind of waned at the end, and that's why he focused on Brittany and her career. He said that really there's a few other screenplays that are out there that have possibility for production, but everyone knows that he was responsible for her death, and at least in the industry, and they kind of blame him for it, and therefore he's kind of, black market material, not somebody that they're going to pursue for sure.
I see. I think I've concluded. I don't know if I have any more questions. Is there anything else that he would like to say, any messages to other people or to, his family, anyone here on Earth?
For the family, he says that, he has a lot of regrets towards, his actions towards them especially, and, he just wants to remain contrite, I guess is the best word to use to describe that. With that said, it's just, I think he's found peace tonight that he didn't have before. He said he never really got to say this, while he was alive, but now that he's on the other side, he feels like this is something that he wanted to share and definitely give Brittany the credit that she deserves. He said he took a lot of her self-esteem away and a lot of her will to live, and that's one of the reasons why he feels responsible for her death.
Yeah, I'd like to thank him, Brittany Murphy, and Anna Nicole Smith for showing up tonight and helping us out with this show.
And they also say thank you for giving them a voice. And I think that's one of the reasons why we do this show, to give them that are on the other side a chance to give us a message. And, there's a lot of people who ask about, contact with the spirit world and, is it real? And I assure you, this is definitely real.